Hello for everyone. Let's go to the last presentation in SAP Inside Track. I will introduce myself. Let me stop here the share. Okay, that's better. Okay, this is the last presentation in SAP Inside Track 21. And we will talk about planning in the S/4HANA and in the SAC, what are the new technologies offered by SAP to planning. I will share my screen, and let's go to start our presentation. Let me see if everything is okay. That's nice. So let me introduce myself. My name is Manuel Robalinho. I am an SAP consultant. Usually I work with FICO. I work with SAP just from 98. We have here my LinkedIn. And we are talking about the main changes for planning in data in S/4HANA. So I am a SAP consultant working in Brazil. I have a master's degree in computer science. I live in Fortaleza, and I started SAP implementation in NTI, and I worked in Portugal, Angola, and now in Brazil. Suppose everything is okay with the presentation. Let's appear like it's stopped to share. But let's go. Let me try to share again. I suppose it's not very well the sharing screen. I will share all stream. Okay, I suppose now it'll be nice. Now I suppose that's okay. Our goal today is to expose the planning and budgeting tools in S/4HANA. What we are talking about? We are talking about planning in cost center, about budget in cost center, about activity type planning, planning statistic features, and planning and budgeting for internal orders. Some big guides of the development of SAP in that area about planning. One of them is the cost center planning and budgeting transaction are maintained but do not appear in the app or in the SAP GUI menu. SAP directs the planning to the SAC, SAP Analytics Cloud Models, and or the BPC. So we look that all the movement of SAP development to produce S/4HANA, all the movement is to don't make the planning and budgeting in S/4HANA and budgeting in the main models in SAP Analytics Cloud. S/4HANA Cost Center Budget Controls is now available. It's an interesting option because we have this functionality in orders and in project system. So now we have a available control budget in cost center. And it's interesting because we can, like we do in a project and in the availability control in orders, we have the same customizing made in groups about classes, about accounts, and made groups about group of type of cost centers. It is important to activate the commitment management in the cost accounting area. It allows you to manage expenses right from the requisition and the purchase order. It is a functionality that we have too in ECC, but in the context of cost center budget control, it's important to activate the commitment management. And in commitment management, we have two questions. One is in the cost accounting area, and another one is in the cost center. In the cost center, we continue to have the control to block or not block the commitment management for each cost center. Activity planning functionalities are maintained in S/4HANA. The statistical key features planning, when I say in this last one, these 4 activity planning functionalities are maintained, it's correct, they are maintained, but many times they are not in the menu, and we need to activate some SAP notes, like we can see in the next screen, to activate these transactions. They are hidden in the menu. The statistical key features planning functionalities are maintained and are in the normal menu and apps SAP. The document financial plan data upload file, this one, describes the prerequisites to upload planned information. We have here QR code with this document that you can download then. And what we have here, like we don't have the functionalities to planning in SAP, SAP gives us an opportunity to upload to the balance sheet, for example, the information about planning to have in the balance sheet in SAP, in S/4HANA, the columns about real and planning values. And what is the SAP guideline at the last version, 21.02? They have the concept Twotier ERP, two level of the system. The integration of financial planning into SAP Analytics Cloud for SAP S/4HANA Cloud 21.02 allows for overall consistency in planning to use of the SAP Analytics Cloud solution as the main planning tool. So I have here the QR code that explain that we are read now, and you can pick some information about this question to have two-level RRP. We have here and at the center one QR code about the feature scope description that in 21.02 that we have to some information about what changed in the last version. I made a little resume that in 21.02 we don't have more modification or more news about the concepts implemented in the last version S/4HANA. So we continue with the same concepts. What are these concepts about two-tier ERP? In SAP now, when we need to plan, we have the concept to have the real information in S4HANA, and when we need to planning, we have two options. Or we go to BPC, or we go to SAP Analytics Cloud. And in the last months, SAP had to a new concept to have the both BPC and SAC like hybrid planning in S4HANA. So many customers can include BPC and S4 and SAP Analytics Cloud both to planning and give the finished planning to S4HANA. This is a part of the text in this feature scope description that I have here, the QR code, and what they said to 2102 guideline, that the components which provide functionalities for financial planning and analytics with S4HANA is called SAP BPC for S4HANA. So the BPC continues to like a big like SAP Analytics Cloud. Both are the means to and the tools to make the planning in SAP. It's interesting because we can do now, at this moment, we can do in S4HANA, in SAP Analytics Cloud, the same thing that we can do in SAP BPC. Over there in SAP BPC, we can make consolidation and planning consolidation. That is something that we can't do now at SAP Analytics Cloud. The new tool to make the consolidation in SAP is the group reporting, but it is a tool that don't have planning functionalities. So this is a part of the document that describes that. You can pick this QR code and download all the document. Here in this note, I pick the information about what are the main changes from SAP ERP 640, the ECC. And we have here that the information that on-premise edition 1503 does not support the following functionalities from SAP. General ledger. This is a very new note. It's not so long. General ledger, balance sheet planning, reports for comparing planning data and actual data, and average balance sheet are not supported. It's interesting because this is the QR code that you can download this note. This is interesting because they say that in that document, and after them we have another SAP note to reactivate the functionalities to make the planning in S4HANA, like KP06 that does not appear in the S4HANA, but you can reactivate them and planning with them, activating the transaction in the S4HANA. This is the continue about the changes, like in SAP Finance, that they say here that don't SAP OM orders planning and profit and loss planning and profit center planning are not covered by integrated business planning. This is the note, and you can too download the note and continue to read some other functionalities that are not supported. I say that are not supported in S4HANA, but I said a few minutes ago that we can reactivate these functionalities if you need in your implementation in S4HANA, but are not supported anymore. So you don't put your goal to make your planning or your budget using only these functionalities, because you need to move to SAP Analytics Cloud or BPC. To make the planning in SAP, you need to activate some roles and assign these roles to the users, for individual users. I have here a table with the roles to planning. We have here, and we have some file formats requirements to import the data into S4HANA to use them in your ERP. The information comes in CSV files, and here I have in the next the apps that you need to import the information from SAP Analytics Cloud to your S4HANA. So we have one of them to profit and loss, plan and actual, to import financial data, another one app, to import by mark segment, to import for sales, to import statistic key features, plan data. It's interesting because in statistical key features, we continue to have in the standard menus the functionalities to plan in the S4HANA. Cost account overhead, we don't have anymore the display of the transaction or some app to plan directly in S4HANA. I said that we can reactivate the transaction, but this SAP said to plan in BPC or SAP Analytics Cloud. After them, you can import, using this app, you can import the plan data to your cost account overhead, and after them activate activate the test to the budget, like I said in the first one slide. For cost account overhead, to delete, we have to an app to plan data deleted based on a data. If you load the plan data for cost account, and after them, if you need to delete all of the data, you have to an app. For cost planning, I have here an example. This is an Excel file. So you need to create an Excel file with these labels. And this is an example. You put here your category. You need to put plan data, PLN. After them, the year, the period May, this example. The company, Bookers. After them, you put here your cost center, here in RCNTR. After them, you put here your account that you are planning, the value that you are planning, and the currency. After that, you can import this Excel sheet in this app, this one. Cost account overhead, copy, financial data planning. So the SAP don't have anymore the functionalities as a standard to planning in S/4HANA, but we can plan in SAP Analytics Cloud, or in BPC, create a worksheet and upload them in the S/4HANA. For cost center, after them, when we made the upload of the planning data on the budget, we can activate the budget control for cost center. We can make the control by all the cost center or by account. For each account, we can create a group of accounts to planning the budget. We have here the Pro configuration, where you can make the activation. We have here a graphic model with all the steps to configure them, and you can obtain the information to configure with this QR code. This is more steps to configure the cost center budget. You can see that we can have some profiles. We can create a profile. CC001 is one of them, and make the link with this profile with the cost center. So we can have different configurations for groups of cost center to have different control of the budget. This control of the budget give us the error message or the warning message when we made some movements in some accounting documents, and we don't have budget to do that. Here we continue the configuration about cost center. For each cost center account, we can define a tolerance limit. For example, 90% of exhaustion, it gives a warning, and 100% we give an error, and not allowing more expenses to be entered in cost center. Here we can look for which activities can go to this configuration, and we can see here that we have the requisition, some financial documents, some allocations, etc. We can select here the configuration with the documents that contribute to define the tolerance limit. So the cost center budget, when the budget utilization reaches a defined limit, the system responds with a warning or error message. These functionalities in the ECC we have in the PS module, project system, or in orders, internal orders, or other type of orders. Now is the same functionalities that we have in cost center. This for each profile we can define the budget currents type, account groups for the accounts that contribute to the limit in the cost center, and budget tolerance limits to put 90% or 100% to system responds with a message error or with a warning message error, with a warning message. It's interesting because all of them we can link them with one profile, and one profile can be given to a group of cost centers. So we can have some cost centers with one profile and another one with other profile. So is that I have here the QR code to consult all of the documents. You can contact me too. We have here my email, my Skype, and other informations. It's interesting because we need to be with careful when we are implementing the new functionalities in S/4HANA, because many changes are news for from the last ERP, SAP ECC. And we need to think about new solutions that SAP say that we give for the customer this new solution in BPC or in SAP Analytics Clouds. For each one that work with the SAP SAP Analytics Clouds, we can try to use them for two main functionalities: for planning or for BI, like to create some new reports. And in the BPC, we have three main opportunities to use in planning, in BI, because it's a good tool to make your reports in BPC, and to consolidation that give you the opportunity to make the consolidation, real consolidation, or the planning consolidation. So that's all. See you. Bye bye to the next year. Thank you very much.